Hey there, this is Dave, and I'm going to share with you an experiment or kind of a discovery I went through looking for a pen that combines two of my favorite pens into one pen. We'll see if I was successful or not. And then also show you what I think is probably the least expensive way to get into having a gold nib in your collection if you don't have one already. Okay, so to start with, I've got a series of pens here, and we're talking about pocket pens again. I swear, I promise, I will not be talking about pocket pens forever. Soon as all of these giveaways are done, then we will be done with pocket pens for a while, probably. Probably. This is one of my favorite pens of all time. This is the Pilot E95S or Pilot Elite. And it's a very pocketable pen, very like sleek looking, minimalist, very pocketable, and it's very small. But once you post it, it becomes the length of a full-size pen. And I just thought that this was really kind of neat. Very James Bond in the way that, it maybe Inspector Gadget's more your style. But either way, I thought that the compactability of this thing was really great. I loved this pen. I liked the way it writes. And unfortunately, it's just a little too thin for me. I wound up giving this pen away, not this particular one, but the one that I first owned to a friend of mine. But after a while, I started realizing that I really missed it. And so I wound up purchasing another one, which is this one. Now, it's still got the problem with the smallish body. And this can get uncomfortable for me after a while. There's no stop at the end. There's no really a section at all. It's just one big part of the body. And for me, in a long writing session, that would get tiresome. But I don't really use pocket pens for long writing sessions. It's more for note-taking and such. However, I wanted to see if I could find something a little bit girthier, but still pocketable. And then I was thinking to myself, I have this Sailor. This is a King of Pen Iro Miyabi. It's an urushi finish. It's got kind of a sandy texture to it. To me, it looks like a dragon egg. And the nib is absolutely my favorite nib in my collection. Not only is it gorgeous two-tone, I love the two-tone, but it's also 21 karat. Not that that makes a difference between like 14 or 18 or 21. I really can't tell the difference. But the feedback that this nib has is unique in the industry. I don't think any other pen has quite the feedback as the Sailor King of Pen or the ones with the number 8-ish size nibs. And it's a bit like working with chalk or pastels or charcoal, maybe a pencil. Those type of textury feels that you get when you're using those materials is very similar to what you get from this. And I just don't feel that in any other nib that I own. So I was hoping, is there a way I can find this pen here, a little bit girthier with this nib? And I wound up finding something that was interesting. It's been around forever, and that is the Sailor Pro Mini, or it's sometimes called the Pro Slim Mini, or Pro Gear Slim Mini, a long name for such a short pen. And as you can see, it is shorter than the Pilot E95S, and it has a 14 karat gold nib, Sailor nib. It's not two-tone, but that doesn't matter to me. At least not for this. I'm glad that my King of Pen has a two-tone. And then when we post it, it is nearly the same length as the Pilot. In fact, it is nearly the same length as the Pro Gear Slim. Both of them are slightly longer at the cap end, but overall, they're in the same neighborhood as far as pen length is concerned. Both of these, by the way, post very securely. As you can imagine, this is designed to be posted when used, and I don't think there's any pen that is more secure than the E95S. So I'm going to set aside the Pilot for a little bit, and let's talk about the Pro Gear. First of all, you'll notice that if we hide the caps and the bases of the pen, you'll notice that they are identical up into the band here. In fact, these sections are interchangeable, as are the caps. But sharing designs makes it a lot easier for them to develop components or manufacture components and then kind of mix and match to come up with different iterations of a nearly identical pen. Really, the only differences here are the body. And on the cap, all we've done is switched the finial at the top. Otherwise, these are completely identical. Well, there is a slight difference in the stamping of the clip, but otherwise they're exactly the same. Same dimensions, same positions. The center bands are actually identical. They say Sailor, Japan, founded 1911 on both caps. And then the other difference is the finial of the Pro Gear Mini has the little medallion with the Sailor Anchor logo. Other than that, these are identical, and the parts could probably be swapped. One thing Sailor didn't include was a converter, but they can be purchased later. The Mini can only use the Mini converter, and the Pro Gear Slim can use either. I've already loaded up the Mini to show you what that looks like with a converter. The converter will run you around $8 US, and this is a proprietary part. The Mini has been around for decades. However, it's never been popular in the North American market. Maybe that's because until recently, pocket pens have not been very interesting to people in North America. But now with the growing popularity of pocket pens, I can definitely see this finding a place, especially since it's essentially the same pen as this. It's just in a smaller form factor. But how do these write? Will they compare to the 21 karat number 8-ish size King of Pen? Well, let's find out. All right, so the conclusion here is that the nib is definitely not the same as the 21 karat gold number 8-ish size nib. And I really didn't expect it to be, but it does have some of that same DNA that I can feel that's very similar in terms of feedback. Now, this pen is a fine, and that is a Japanese fine, so it's a bit finer than I'm used to writing with. But this pen also has a bit of scratch in it that I found uncomfortable, and I didn't like the feel. In fact, I had to clean the nib off several times because it was scraping up fibers from the paper. Now, that can be tuned out, and for the price I paid on this pen, I would have been surprised if it was perfect coming out of the box. As I said, this is not a very popular pen in North America, so it's kind of hard to find. I'll put some links down below. The thing is, they are low in stock in the US stores if they're available at all. This particular one I bought from a store in Japan. Now, I also promised you a way to get a very low priced gold nib. You'll be surprised that it's not an off-brand that I'm talking about. In fact, I am talking about this Pro Gear Slim here that I was talking about or showing off earlier. This nib here is 14 karat gold, solid, not plate. This one's a medium, and it has a bit smoother feel to it than this fine does. And I probably should have used this as a comparison with the Iro Miyabi, because the Iro Miyabi is also a medium. But for anywhere between $85 and $95, you can get one of these pens still. They come in a variety of colors. You don't have to pick this particular one. Unfortunately, this might upset some people. They're available on Amazon. And I will put an affiliate link down below that will take you right to the store where I bought mine from. This will probably be Patreon only content, especially since the number of the pens that are available is limited. By the time I get this out to YouTube, these will probably be sold out. If you were on the Patreon, you might have known earlier. So consider joining the Patreon if you want early access to content. It's also free, and I'm doing giveaways on there all the time. So come join us over there on Patreon. Also, it's ad-free. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you're on YouTube. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching, and be well.